Hello everyone, my name is Moji. You're watching a Bitcoin bubble news channel. Bitcoin daily chart is going up and down like crazy as it gets closer to $70,000. It's an interesting chart. I'd like to break down upside goals and what a short-term breakout might look like. So please click the subscribe button. Please click like and let's go straight to the movie. Several things I want to talk about, so much so far today, and there's still a lot of the day left. US inflation falls by 3.3%. There's no doubt that this is having some effect on the charts. This is also in stock. Today is the FOMC meeting. This figure shows how the price of Bitcoin has changed during the last 3 FOMC meetings. Take a look at the last 3 meetings. This could happen in January, March, May, or June. It would have the same effect either way. Let's look at the charts and see what a new all-time high might look like. Either way, I'm really expecting some change. I think that's a good idea because Bitcoin is facing a lot of pushback right now. Let's see how this plays out from now on. The meeting is coming up in a few hours at least while I'm making this video. Before we look at the enlarged charts, there are other things going on in the world of ETFs, right? There is an alternative season story going on right now. The general crypto cycles are going really well, but we have things like this. I put this up last night. President Trump and other top candidates for president are talking about Bitcoin mining as the last line of defense against a CBDC. So the top presidential candidate is talking about Bitcoin mining. At this point, he's just a pro-crypto guy saying things like this. Things like this happen whether you believe them or not. Of course, I think play into what's going on with this zoomed-out view of this long-term upward trend that we've been following on this YouTube feed for almost 7 years. The fact that these kinds of things are beginning to happen. There is a huge swing in the pendulum that's happening right now in front of our eyes. I really believe we're entering a new era of crypto, which is why I often say, we're just now beginning, let's talk about the specifics. What's going on? This is another great piece of information from Tech Dev over here. He's looking at data from a lot of different angles that I don't usually talk about. But it really helps me guess when things will happen in these cycles, which is why I love this content so much. It's been 42 months since the beginning of a long time you've been here. As you wait for the compression to reach its peak, press the top band against the previous high. With growth having been squeezed and bounced, the next leg is set to speed up. Now this is where things get interesting. If you look closely, you can see that the first one on the left is from cycles ago and is colored red. The second one is from cycles ago and is colored green. Yes, we're talking about the last part of the 2017 bull market, the expansion phase. This is the time when prices dropped, like in 2014, 2015, and 2016. Just from a tracking point of view, I like that because we've seen so many different things from it. This cycle has a lot of different connections, compared to what's going on back here and the last cycle, right? Some things are the same as the last cycle, but the 2017 move is very different. So if you look at this, and this is where things get really strong when we talk about, if you look at this most recent red compression phase, this area was pretty much the last bull market all-time high. Maybe we're getting some kind of super cycle. So we're talking about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in this. We were in a general area where prices were falling and now we're back there, but this time we're starting an expansion phase. This is another reason why there's so much upside for crypto markets right now in terms of this cycle. Then we look at things like, you may remember that we just talked about this 20-week rise above the 50-week data point. Yes, every time this happens, or I should say in the last cycle, there were 822 days from the move to the all-time high. In the cycle before that, there were 784 days, and in this cycle there are 511 days. The average number of days from the move to the all-time high is now around 725. I'm sorry about this move. There is a lot of space, and if it's going to be a big cycle 900 some days, yes, we have a lot of room to grow since the days are getting longer each time. Some days it's 900 km. Okay, now let's look at the charts and talk about Bitcoin's short-term goals, since I know that's what a lot of you are interested in. Now I saw this post about FOMC and CPI today and how BTC is about to finish a perfect inverse head and shoulders pattern. We've been talking about this inverse head and shoulders pattern, and I think there are more than one on this screen, but we're going to talk about the one he's talking about. What I didn't notice was how the left shoulder formed. The head and the possible right shoulder have everything to do with the FOMC meetings that are going on right now. He says that a gig of candles is likely. I'm glad he included my view. I believe there is a huge upside on the Bitcoin daily chart right now, but I always like to bring some realism to the charts because we could see complete rejection at this area and everyone is waiting for a breakout. Got the right shoulder, there's still some work to do on the right shoulder, right? It hasn't really broken this general trend line with this shape. On the other hand, if we look at the head and shoulders target inverted head and shoulders target, a goal of about $90,000 is in sight, which is crazy bullish. But before we zoom out on the chart, there are a few things I'd like to bring up. First, and this is something we've talked about a lot, I think it's important to note how long Bitcoin has been stabilizing from this swing high. This happened in March. To put it another way, we're talking about 3 months. It's been 3 months of putting things together. In other words, Bitcoin's price is pretty much the same now as it was 3 months ago. During that time, there have been a lot of consolidations, choppiness, and a big drop into the 50 triple dollar zeros. If it's going to break out, now is a great time for it to do so, and it makes sense. On the other hand, our header inverse head and shoulders goal is around 90,000. We also have another goal, which is this growing wedge that we've been watching since February. It was such a nice throwback to the peak. Now we need to see if the trend will continue and if this inverted head and shoulders pattern breaks out to the upside. Up here, we have a goal of about $77,000 or something like that. What's the point of bringing that up when the price is about $80,000? To be clear, I mean the all-time high range. That range is kind of important to me. That's basically the collar of this inverse head and shoulders, like if this were the inverse head and shoulders, right? The breakout target is $90,000, but the range from the neckline to the rising wedge goal is about $80,000, so we're looking at about $74,000 to $80,000, which is a very interesting area to watch if Bitcoin gets there. For starters, I'd expect resistance or consolidation. In the short run, there may be some kind of new structure put in place. But after that, it looks like Bitcoin will really take this bull market to the next level if it can break through and go above that area. This is the next step in Bitcoin's price discovery. And there are a lot of things that could happen next for crypto. So I think that range, $80,000 to $74,000, is a really important one for Bitcoin right now in the short term if it can make the breakout. That's pretty much my goal area for Bitcoin right now. We do have another inverse head and shoulders target, but just because this one has been forming for 3 months doesn't mean that Bitcoin will go straight to the target. There could be a lot of choppiness and rejection back to the neckline before we get there. We might not get there until August, but we could. So let's go slowly. For me, it's all about being patient. This is me keeping track of the facts from my point of view in my own crypto journey. But again, this is a big resistance area. It's likely to be a big sellout. Since I'm one of those people who thinks the price will go up, it will be interesting to see if Bitcoin can break through this support area and neckline area. If it doesn't, there could be rejection and even more consolidation. That's what I'm keeping an eye on right now. It will be interesting to see how today's meeting goes and how the crypto markets respond to it. But we'll keep an eye on it. To help me out, please subscribe, like, and turn on notifications. Thanks for your help, and I'll see you in the next movie. God bless.